Once upon a time, two friends joined forces to bring you the best in horror entertainment. Brian from the north, Tim from the south, each bringing their own unique perspective to the horror community. Movie reviews, Blu-ray releases, beer pairings, games, and more. Welcome to your new home for horror. This is Civil Gore.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Civil Gore Podcast. I'm your host, Tim.
And this is Brian, and we are mere days away from our return to New Jersey HorrorCon after several years. And it's exciting because Tim first is going to come to Long Island, and then we'll probably get some beer and some food that night before we take our trek down there, and we will meet up with our good friend Ken. And then on Saturday, the Cone will be arriving. So it will be, well, this time we're coming back and with like reinforcements, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. This is not just the Tim and Brian show anymore. This is the full squad, the full monster squad.
Yeah. So because we figured it's like you guys are tired of just hearing stories of me and Tim from this con. So we need to have some other ones. So in fact, it'll be New Jersey Horror Cone on Saturday.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, two more people, we can have twice the number of stories so they don't get as old.
That's what I'm thinking, and in all honesty, it's like, I mean, we'll get into this in a minute. Tim, we're going to do some little housekeeping first, but we'll get into the con. But there's some new, Showboat has done a major renovation since we were there. So there's a lot of cool things to check out. So hopefully we'll provide a lot of content over the weekend. There may be a mini golf tournament for all we know in there.
Yeah, they got a huge arcade now. I was watching some YouTube videos just to see it. I could barely recognize the place until they showed the actual casino floor, or the ex-casino floor where the con was last time we went, is now most of it is the arcade.
Yeah, well, and I read an article there, like the guy, I guess, I'm going to butcher his name. It might be Barry Blaustein. It's something like that. I apologize if I got that wrong, but he's basically doubling down. I read an article of making Showboat, since he doesn't have the casino license anymore, he's decided to go like full on family friendly. So, so families can go to Atlantic City, and if they're not big gamblers, still can get the beach, get the action, get the excitement of it without having to be surrounded by necessarily a casino. And so I think they're under construction now of a water park for next year. Mm-hmm. It's opening in 2023, which is kind of interesting. Tim and I, of course, big theme park fans, so that's kind of a cool thing to have a brand new water park being constructed around this. So I think, this hotel is really shaping up to be, they're trying to get back to the glory days just without the casino element and just more fun, which is kind of cool. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Just watching the videos, it was kind of fun, like thinking back to last time we went and like looking forward to what we're going to get into this time and all the restaurants and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited.
Yes.
All right. Well, we got a little bit of housekeeping because we were given a screener for a film that's currently out on Shudder, and we owe it a review. And originally, I had my review outlined for our next regular episode, which got a little bit delayed. So I wanted to.
We'll explain all that when it's released.
Yeah, exactly. There's a big story behind that, but I wanted to give this review out because we have been sitting on that for a while. But it's called The Spine of Night, and this is a animated fantasy horror film. It's currently on Shudder, and let me tell you, Brian, I absolutely love this thing. Absolutely loved it. Now, I'm a big fan of fantasy. I read a lot of fantasy novels. And I'm also a big fan of horror. So when you combine the two, it's like chocolate and peanut butter. Like I'm all over it. Now, I will say the animation style for this one is a little unique. It's kind of a rotoscope where they film the actors and kind of draw over them. And when you look at it initially, like when I first started watching it, I thought the animation looked kind of crude. And as I got more immersed in the story, you kind of realize that animation style just really fits the story. So I will say, if you watch a couple minutes of it, or you watch a trailer and you go, that animation style is just not for me, I would say give it a chance, because once you get into it, it really, really fits the story pretty well. And the story concerns now I will say, let me start this by saying, because the story starts off with a completely naked woman trudging through the snow. This is very adult, very gory, lots of nudity.
It's like a heavy metal type of thing.
Like
right?
a heavy metal, yes, exactly. So it's just go into it with that expectation. But it's about this flower that grants like extreme power to whoever like wields this flower, and like sorcery type power. And you have this one man that wants to take this flower, and there's basically a swamp witch. This lady, they call her a swamp witch, but she's a lady that kind of rules over this swamp, and she's kind of like a nature type guardian. And he ends up stealing the flower from her. And so this whole story is like told from her perspective about what happened, and it spans like generations because this flower can allow you to live longer than a normal human being. So this whole movie unfolds over like several generations of this mad wizard and this flower. So it's really, really cool. It's got some great horror in it. I mean, not like jump scare type horror, but just more like ultra violent, ultra gore, horrific imagery type stuff. So if you're at all a fan of fantasy, definitely check this one out. I absolutely love this one. This is one I'll end up probably buying just to have and watching again because it was really cool. Now, I did read that it took like 7 years to make this thing because I think they only had 4 animators on the whole project.
Oh my God.
So it's been a long time coming, but I think it was worth the wait. It's got some big names in it. You got Lucy Lawless, Joe Manganiello. For Olivia. Yeah, I know. But she only sees his voice. She doesn't get to see him with his shirt off. So
yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's the voice. And you know what a good voice, Mr. Dulcet Tones yourself, you know what a voice can do.
Yeah,
so she's hearing him, and now she's like imagining him like coming out of the screen in animated form, turning into real Joe Manganiello. Or Janelio. I don't
even know how to pronounce his name.
Yeah, there's an I and an E and an L-O.
Yeah. It's got Patton Oswalt in it. Just like some big name voice actors in here, like not just voice actors, actual actors. So definitely terrific. I loved it. You'll see the reviews have been kind of around anywhere from the 65 to 85% range. I ended up liking it a little more just because that's like my cup of tea is dark fantasy. I love Conan the Barbarian, and that's like horror infused fantasy. So this was way up my alley. So if you're kind of a fan of that stuff, I think it'll score even higher for you.
Yeah, no, it's and I tend to think especially if you see things. Sometimes I see things on Shudder where people say, "Oh, this isn't horror. Why is this on here?" And I think they're expecting like the very traditional horror. Some people that go into Shudder. Whereas sometimes they have a very diverse lineup, which I happen to appreciate that Shudder doesn't just stick with, the very, quote unquote obvious horror films. I like that they do some of the unique ones that you won't find anywhere.
Yeah. Plus, I don't think you should like pigeonhole yourself into one thing. Like if you like horror, I think it helps to watch all kinds of horror. You might like your favorite thing in the world might be 80s slashers, but I think it's neat to go outside of your comfort zone and watch films. Like there's films I've seen through Shudder that I never ever would have watched otherwise, and I absolutely loved them. And you're going to miss those if you don't.
Yeah, because when I was younger, like to me, like maybe a folk horror to me would not be as appealing as let's say a slasher. But as I've grown, I've come to appreciate those kind of films, and I love them. And I love that Shudder has a ton of them on there right now. Yeah, so it's great. So yeah, I'm glad that was it's so good. Yeah, I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet. So I'm glad you got to watch it. So we can. So we did get the screener, and so we wanted to make sure we got that review out. So that's awesome. Yeah, so check that out. Spine of Night. It's currently on Shudder now. There's a lot on Shudder now too because of the halfway to Halloween. So, but make sure you put that in your Shudder queue there. So one of our housekeeping items is for the new movie Scream. So own the all-new Scream movie on 4K, Ultra, HD, and Blu-ray. Starring Neve Campbell, David Arquette, and Courtney Cox, Scream is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Own it today and get killer bonus content, including interviews with the cast, deleted scenes, and much more. Directed by Matt Bettinelli, Olpen, and Tyler Gillette. Rated R from Paramount Pictures.
All right, well, let's get into our New Jersey HorrorCon preview. Now, this is basically going to be just going to run down the guest list, I guess.
Yeah, maybe a couple little things of what we're looking forward to seeing, and stuff like that.
And I guess we'll just alternate these, Brian.
Yep. So, yeah, we'll start off first. And this is in no order other than the order that I think I took the list from. I think it might have been from the way they, it was like, I think I went through their announcements or something, like what they had scrolling, I think is how I did it. So the first one is Christy Swanson, of course, from the Buffy movie, and Ferris Bueller.
Which I still have never seen, by the way.
Ferris Bueller?
No, I've never seen the original Buffy.
Oh, okay.
I only watched the
like,
TV series.
You quote Ferris Bueller. What are you talking about?
No, Ferris Bueller is one of my favorite movies of all time. No. Next up is one I'm looking forward to, Barry Bostwick, of course, from Rocky Horror Picture Show, Tales of Halloween, and
Spin City. He was on.
Yeah,
for
Spin
a while.
City. Yeah, that's a good one.
All the good stuff. Russ Marquande, or Quand, I'm not sure if I pronounce his name. I know him more. I know, Tim, you know him from Walking Dead. I know him more from the Avengers when he was the Red Skull.
Yeah, I actually don't know him much from The Walking Dead because I don't think I watched the seasons he was in.
Oh, okay.
Or else maybe in passing. I stopped watching The Walking Dead because I got tired of it. But
Gotcha.
I do know him. Obviously, I know him from Avengers. The next big one, of course, is Joe Bob and Darcy. We'll put those together because they're both going to be there, and we were very much looking forward to meeting them again.
Yes, they were so cool the last time. So, and now, like, it'll be fun to get to see Ken and Cone get their enjoyment of meeting the dynamic duo of horror.
Yeah,
so
Joe Bob. Now, I will have to say this guest list is not as familiar to me as. I mean, there's some familiar faces, as we'll see, but it's not as like A-list to me personally as the one we went to before, because that one had the Back to the Future reunion, who I knew everybody, and it had some bigger names. This one does have some big names, but there's a lot of players from movies and stuff that I'm not as familiar with. But Joe Bob and Darcy, I think that's going to be the autograph I spring for.
Yeah, I'm gonna get them. I'm gonna have them sign my figures. I haven't decided if I'm gonna have them sign the 2-pack or the individual figures that I have of them each. Because the 2-pack is like got a big like plastic. Because one of those dioramas kind of sets. Mm-hmm. So it's like there's really not a great place for them both to sign. That's obvious. So I may just do the standard figure sign. Each figures. I'll bring those both. Get those signed. And a quick point on possibly why the guest list may not be as massive. You got to remember too, because we granted, like the last 2 years and the obvious global pandemic, productions were put on all different kind of holds, and so scheduling's gotta be tough.
Oh,
so,
yeah, I'm sure
every guest on here, you have to almost, like we saw there were some cancellations because productions got moved and moved up and moved back. And so, I appreciate every one of these guests on this list that have still find the time to kind of come to one of these cons, because it's got to be more difficult the last couple of years because, a lot of them maybe didn't have roles, and, they're like everybody else, you don't work for a while, it kind of disrupts everything. So,
yeah.
So that could be part of that. But, I mean, still some great people on here. Next, Kathy Moriarty, who I'm a big fan of from Raging Bull. I know Cone says he wants to talk to her about Soap Dish. Only Cone.
Yeah.
And, of course, she was in Casper. She was great in. And I always remember her. She was also from Kindergarten Cop. So she'd be fun to get to talk to.
Next up, Vernon Wells, of course, from Commando, Weird Science, Inner Space, Mad Max, all those things.
Yes. Then there's Bai Ling, who a lot of people know her from some other projects, but she was in one of the Star Wars films. I think it might have been Revenge of the Sith. And, of course, she actually starred with our good friend Emily Sweet in Rancala, the final level. I'm sorry, it's the final level in Escaping Rancala. So that was with our good friend Emily Sweet.
Very nice. This next one, I was kind of surprised to see what a draw it was, but I was reading some of the like horror con articles and groups, and a lot of people are really excited about this one. I don't know if it's because she doesn't do a lot of cons or what, but this is Sandy Johnson from Halloween. So,
yeah, which this is good. And she's in costume. I'm wondering what that entails, because she really didn't have much clothes on in the original Halloween.
Yeah,
so I don't know what that means.
I'm like, that's going to be quite a
Is it
quite a
out
photo
of costume? I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll have to see. New Jersey Horror Con is very family friendly, so I'm sure it's what outfit she wore like right before that sequence for the brief.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Few minutes. I mean, there's pictures of her. I see sometimes she'll pose with the little clown mask. You know what I thought would be good? If I would have sprung for that autograph, I totally would have said, if she had the clown mask, I said, can you put this in front of the camera? I want our picture to be through
the eye holes.
Clown mask eyes. I would totally request that. I don't know if they do something like that, but that to me would be worth the springing for that because she's pretty pricey. And I would if they would do that for me, I would that'd be totally worth the money. How cool would that be to get like that view?
That's hilarious.
But I'm gonna let you. We're gonna skip. I wanted you to do this next one, Tim, because I know this is someone you're very excited to see.
Oh yes. So the next up is Whit Hertford, who you would probably know best as a child star. Because he was in Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. He's
in a lot.
A lot. Like if you see this kid, you would know him instantly if you grew up in the 80s.
Yes.
Addams Family, because he was on. Now the reason I want to talk to him so bad is because of Full House. He was on Full House quite a bit, and
if you don't, your daughter will have a word with you when you return.
I don't think he would. You consider him like a regular, but he was on there every now. It's one of Michelle's friends that would come over.
Yeah,
and I have to. I want to tell him about Anna's Full House obsession. How she's watched the entire 9 seasons 14 times now.
You might have to spring for that autograph for her, Tim.
I don't know that she doesn't understand the concept of people like growing up. Like it's like, if you're not still the kid, she doesn't care. Like when, so she's like when Bob Saget died, she didn't care because she's like, well, I don't care. He's like old. I don't. It's like her only care is like the time period they're frozen in.
Oh, okay. So like to her, it's like it's like once they're out of that, she's out of the time period. They no longer exist.
They no longer exist. So sorry, Whit, but you no longer exist for her.
But he exists to us because we like him.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
I hope we get to chat with him too, like afterwards. You know how sometimes you get to meet up with the people and the thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll be hanging out with the karaoke or something. Then there's I always want to say her name as Beatrice Bopple. I don't think that's how it's pronounced. It might be Boapel or Bopel or Bopel. I don't know. I apologize. That's the first thing I'm going to ask her when I see her. I'm going to say, please say how to pronounce your name. But anyway, she was, of course, Amanda Kruger, and she's actually so linked to Whit Hertford there because they starred in Dream Child together, and they actually are doing photos together throughout the con. So that's kind of cool. And there's a big Nightmare on Elm Street presence there as well. So yeah, I hope to get to stop by her table as well.
Next up, we have a good one, Lynn Lowry from Shivers, Cat People, and the Crazies.
Yeah, I might bring my Shivers disc.
Ooh,
to get that signed.
That's a good idea. I don't know. I've got my Shivers disc. That might be a great one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think she only lists the pro photo op. They don't list what her cost is at the table. So it may be, sometimes that means just because they base it on what you bring. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes they don't really do photos at the table, or I'm not sure. So, but I'm gonna bring it just in case. No harm to bring it. It's a little disc. So we can bring that. Next is Corey Glover. He was from Platoon and In Living Color. And he was one of the first guests I ever saw have to cancel and then reinstate himself back because I guess he moved his gig around that he had. And now he's back. So
he pulled a Tom Brady.
He did. Yeah. Except he's someone that I'm glad to see come back, unlike Tom Brady. I know you're listening, Ken. We'll have this discussion in a few days. But,
next up is probably my top draw from the whole con, and that is
this was what actually I think wasn't it. Yeah, this was I think the guest that kind of already said, okay, I think this is the year we're gonna go back.
Yeah, this of course is Kelly Maroney, who was a guest on the show early on in one of our big guests one of our first early interview gets.
Yeah,
and she's of course from Night of the Comet, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Chopping Mall. I mean, I cannot wait to talk to her.
Yeah, she is someone I cannot. I just wanted to. Hopefully, she remembers she was on our show. It was a while ago, and it's not like we're the biggest. But she does always. I think she always likes our comments and stuff. So I think she'll probably remember us at least somewhat. So that she'll be great to talk to. And then her counterpart from which was a late ad, which I'm very excited because she's definitely one of my childhood crushes. Catherine Mary Stewart. Course from Night of the Comet, and also The Last Starfighter and Weekend at Bernie's. And she happened to be in the scene to my favorite sequence in Weekend at Bernie's, which was not even like it's so funny because it was not even said by the main character. It's the part where he's Jonathan Silverman and her are in his apartment. And the father walks out in his underwear and he's trying to cover it and he goes, just lay my clothes out, Monroe. And he goes, how about I lay you out? For some reason, I can never get through that scene without hysterical laughing. And so it's like I gotta I want to ask her how she kept a straight face through that scene. But yeah, no, she was always my favorites growing up. Cones too, I believe. And I mean, come on, that's a great. I mean, she's been in pretty much. She's been in in so many of my favorite movies. So it's she's one of these people that I've always wanted to meet. So I'm kind of glad she's there.
Next up is another one I'm excited about. Lar Park Lincoln, who of course was in Friday the 13th Part 7, A New Blood, and in the recently covered Roseblood, a Friday the 13th fan film.
Yeah,
that we featured.
And that one we saw, that one Autumn Road that I watched. Remember, it was about the two brothers that own the haunt. She was really good in that too. Mm-hmm. She's been someone I've always been a fan of. Out of all the Friday the 13th, the Final Girl, she was one of my favorites. A lot of people's favorites because she was so unique as a Final Girl. She basically broke a Final Girl mold by being able to have equal powers to the killer, if not stronger powers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was why. So she's someone I've always wanted to meet. So I'm kind of glad she's there as well. Next is America Olivo, who is another Friday the 13th alum. She was in the Friday the 13th remake from 2009. So that's another fun little Friday the 13th get.
The next one up is a big one I'm really excited about, especially since
documentary. And we met him briefly the last time, but he was so he had a lot of people always at his table, so it was hard to really get to talk to him last time.
It's funny. This is my third time almost barely meeting Mark Patton because I kind of brushed by him on at the Mad Monster Party, which is the first horror con I ever attended. And I never really got to talk to him. And then we went back in New Jersey Horror Con. I never really got to talk to him. So I'm definitely going to talk to him. Third time's a charm because I really want to ask him about the Scream Queen documentary, which is just utterly fantastic. And I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I tell you, if you have not seen the documentary, you must watch it. It is one of the most moving horror documentaries you'll find out there. Really, it's amazing. And of course, his partner in crime from that movie, who we got to meet last time as we interrupted her on her way to lunch, was Kim Myers. So hopefully this time we'll time her better, so we're not starving her.
Yes. The next one up is Dave Sheridan from Victor Crowley, Scary Movie, and The Devil's Rejects.
Yeah, who I'm dying to see. He's one of the funniest guys. He steals Victor Crowley. He is so funny in that movie. And, of course, he played Officer Doofy, and so it's definitely another one that I'm dying to meet because I think he's probably a fun guy to talk to. And next one is, of course, the great, another one of our early, really big interviews, of course, was the lovely and amazing, who is a con favorite, of course, Felicia Rose.
Yes.
We don't even need to go. Everyone knows what she's from. We don't need to explain it. If you don't know who Felicia Rose is, don't even listen to the show. Don't even get into horror because she is a true legend.
And another one of our first big interview gets back in the day, back in our early days. She took a chance on us. So we're forever grateful for that. The next one up is a cool one. Ginger Lynn Allen from The Devil's Rejects, 31, American Pie Band Camp.
And then, of course, the new someone who it just looks like she's fun at these cons, and she just started doing these cons, and it's Jennifer Banco, who played young Tina from Friday the 13th Part 7. I think we need to get her on the show at some point, and Lar Park Lincoln. Then we could have three Tinas on the show because we had Jessica Hotman on the show when we were talking about Roseblood. So we need to get the Jennifer Banco and Lar Park Lincoln on the show. We get all the Tinas, Tina Shepherds on the show, and she's hosting the Karaoke, so she's basically taking over from John Kassir from when we were there last time.
Yeah. The next two guests I'm really excited about because they were featured in the recent Chucky series. That's Christina Leese, who is in Child's Play 2 and Chucky, of course.
Yep, and Alex Vincent, of course, who, you talk about someone who's kind of really not talked about enough kind of legend in horror. I think it's him.
I kind of want to, now I'm thinking, should I bring my little Chucky set for him to sign? But I don't know.
I know. I'm totally. It's it's not for a 7-disc set. It's nice and concise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was thinking that too. I don't know. I haven't decided yet if I want to bring that many things there. I mean, I know it's harder for you because you're flying in, but And I literally could bring a whole suitcase of crap, but it's like, yeah, I haven't decided yet. See, but because he may have some cool photos.
Yeah,
or
we'll
something.
See. Next up is another Walking Dead guest, Paula Lazaro. I did not recognize her from Walking Dead, but I think it's because she was in one of the later seasons that I didn't watch.
Yeah, and I don't watch the show, so I don't. I'm not going to recognize anybody from that show, except of course. Oh my God, like the big people from that show.
Like Norman
and of
Reedus
course Addie Miller, which we had on the show. So, then the next one is a good con favorite who we got to talk to last time, and I've met him at a couple of cons. Always a great guy, and that's Butch Patrick, of course, Eddie Munster himself.
Yeah, I've met him a couple times as well, and he's always really, really cool guy. And he's a big Creature from the Black Lagoon fan, so he gets a double score in my book.
Yeah, I'll just put these next two together too, and that's J.J. French and Mark the Animal Mendoza, two members of Twisted Sister.
Yeah, my kids love the Twisted Sister video for We're Not Gonna Take It.
Oh my God, what a classic!
Yeah,
that's a classic.
They love that video for some reason.
And I always laugh at Twisted Sister from Gung Ho with Gade Watney. Remember, he's like, "No more Twisted Sister!" And he yells. So it's like it's another classic.
Next up, another Halloween guest, Tony Moran from the original Halloween.
Yep, and he's actually doing an in-costume photo op for those who want to spring for that, where he's in the full Michael Myers gear. Then there's late edition, who just got added, was Patty Mullen, of course, from Frankenhooker.
Yeah, that's
which is kind of a cool guess, because I haven't seen her listed at many cons. I mean, I could have just missed it, but I think maybe it was at Chiller one of the years I was there. I can't remember, that I didn't go to. It was one of the ones I didn't go to, but I think she was there.
Next up is Christina Klebe from Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yeah, I really want to meet her because I was a big fan of her. She was also really good in she was in Tales of Halloween, but also, of course, Tim, she does one of the voices to the characters of one of our favorite Friday the 13th, the video games. So we need to have her face to face with Cone when Cone's Jason, So.
Yeah.
And then John Russo, of course, from Night of the Living Dead. He's kind of like a con favorite.
He never leaves the con. He just stays there.
I really don't think he ever leaves. I think he comes with the con.
He gives free selfies. Free selfies. That's cool.
He does. He's an awesome guy. I think we talked to him last time. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, I met him. I met him at the PopCon in Wilmington the first time. That's when he had He had a bunch of awesome Night of the Living Dead stuff that I wish I could have bought, but I didn't. And,
yeah, that's right. He's always has some good stuff at his table like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
He has some really cool, unique stuff. Like he had pay stubs from the original Night of the Living Dead, and he had cemetery dirt. He had all kinds of crazy crap from the souvenirs from that shoot. Next up is a cosplayer, Barbie Chula, NYC. And
she's I don't know much about her, but she does some really unique cosplay from her pictures. I followed her on Instagram so we can get to learn a little bit about her. So I'm not sure what she what she's going to be there as, but she did post today. She had pictures of her in the arcade and stuff, cool. Saying she's excited to be there. So that already wins points in my book. Then there's a band, two bands. I'll just go through them. There's Adam and the Metal Hawks and American Grim. I guess they'll be performing throughout the weekend.
Yep, and then of course another con staple, Father Evil cosplayer, he's really cool.
Yeah, he's always cool. You know what it is? He's one of those things that kind of make you feel at home. It's like you see him there, you're like, I'm at a con. It's like, I like this.
It was funny because I was watching the YouTube video of the guy that went last year, and there was a shot of Father Evil just walking down the hall, and it brought a big smile to my face. I was like, yeah, it's Father Evil. It's
it's like. I don't know what it is. It's almost like seeing like when you're at Disneyland and you see the first costume character.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's like he's like an old friend or something. He just makes you feel like, oh, it's not a con until you see Father Evil there.
Right. Especially not in the East Coast. Yeah. Definitely not an East Coast con with Father Evil. And then finally, there's South Jersey Jason, who's a Jason Voorhees cosplayer, and I think he's joined up with Jimmy J Entertainment, the guy that really cool dude that's putting on that Friday the 13th con. That little mini con. Mm-hmm. So, what's great is I think all his stuff they donate to autism research. So I will definitely stop. We definitely want to stop by his booth. I want to get something and donate to that. That was I love when there's a little charity available to donate at these cons. Because it's really just a good way to give back to that. But yeah. So I mean, of course, there's that's the guess. Of course, there's some great cosplayers there that don't get official mentions on the site, but like I'm hoping like Ripley and the Alien are there again, as they were really amazing. They're really into it, and there's also some very cool cosplayers that are just there. I mean, there's the whole film festival yet again.
Mm-hmm.
I made one. It's Tim probably like rolling his eyes, but I made one of my amazing charts again, if I do say so myself, with literally like down to the minute of where everything is scheduled, so we can kind of balance out stuff. Definitely, there's a couple of films on there that I want to see if we can get to. Unfortunately, I wanted to see the screening of even though we saw it, I wanted to see the screening of Roseblood like with a crowd. But unfortunately, it like blends right into one of the panels I want to see. So I don't know. We may have to either see some of it and leave, or I don't know what we'll do. But yeah, there's a Night of the Comet panel on the first night there, which I definitely want to see, because that's one of my favorite movies of all time. And of course, I think the last thing I'll do before I head out on Sunday, I know you and Ken are staying again another night, but I want to definitely see the Joe Bob and Darcy panel, because you ever watch Joe Bob talk, even for 10 minutes, you get such a wealth of information and the love of cinema that there's no way I'm missing a Joe Bob panel. There's just no way. And I was lucky enough right before the world shut down, I got to see Redneck Saved Hollywood, which I recommend to anybody. I think, Tim, he's coming to North Carolina. I don't know where it was, but I saw he just announced something in North Carolina. So you may want to look to see how far it is for you, because it is one of the best kind of entertainment thing you ever do. He just goes through, he shows a bunch of clips, he just talks, with that just tons of knowledge. Like Julie, who, who's like very casual in terms of, Joe Bob. Like she'll watch some of The Last Drive-In with me sometimes, and stuff. And she was like, wow. She goes, how much she learned in the 2.5 hours of that special. She had such a great time in there. Thank God we had a great time, because it was the last for a long time of things we were able to do.
Yeah, he's a good storyteller. I mean, that's always a draw. Like, somebody can just stand up there and tell stories, and you're like captivated the whole time. Like that panel we saw when we went was amazing, and it was just him just sitting there answering a few questions and talking about there's something about him that he has that ability to just kind of entertain just by talking in conversation.
Yeah, well, he loves film. He loves talking about films. He loves answering questions about film. And there's what more can you ask for? And and he has that Joe Bob flair too. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was like, kind of reminds me of like Kevin Smith too. When except I think Kevin Smith still could outtalk Joe Bob by like 7 hours, but it's kind of like that. Like, I've seen Kevin Smith at panels, and he'll go until they stop him. Like, he just loves talking about films, and you got to respect people like that.
We may have to investigate the Joe Bob and Darcy pro photo op. Maybe
I was thinking that
we may have to investigate that. That might be a splurge there.
I mean, if we split it, it's not that bad.
Yeah,
like we did for the other one.
No, it's nothing.
I just think we try maybe decide in a couple before you come out, though, because then I could just pre-purchase it. I think it's a little cheaper.
Yeah, let's think about that. We'll talk about it offline.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. And then finally, so just another thing is, we'll have Cone and Ken there, so there'll probably be a lot of fun stories. We'll be having beers, joining, maybe doing a little gambling. We'll try and definitely try and make sure there's content, kind of bring the con to you for those who aren't there, as much as we're allowed to record, and what we do, even if we go off to the side and kind of give you updates as to what's going on. Definitely gonna definitely we will get it recorded if one of us dares to do the karaoke. To me, I think there is an alcohol level that it would take, but I don't know if it's like right on that bottom line of like right before passing out. And
yeah, it would be significant for me. And in fact, if you get me enough alcohol to sing karaoke, then there's going to be other problems probably.
Yeah, well, that's why we got Ken there. He's the muscle. He'll just pull you down like the Navy style and right onto the ground. But yeah, so it is good because there's a lot of there's that new restaurant which is the giant arcade in there, so they'll definitely be playing some arcade. There's a like a glow miniature golf, which I think Tim and I, it's a rule if Tim and I are together and there's a miniature golf course, we kind of have to play.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to be spending more money at the arcade than on anything.
Probably, I know. Well, because we're gamers, and they have a lot of video games.
And they have
there.
a ton of pinball.
Cone will be by the pinball.
Yeah, a ton of pinball. I mean, I can't wait to play pinball with Cone.
Yeah. Oh, the Cone is like a pinball maven. He's like, I would say pinball wizard, but I don't know how good he is. I just know he loves playing. So yeah, this is lots of stuff. So we'll definitely take a ton of pictures for sure, and send you guys stuff, and we may do some like little video things to put on there. And we have this nice new website that we need to keep adding stuff to. Yeah. And so it should be a lot of fun. I don't fortunately. Tim and I probably won't eat as healthy as we did the last time, especially because our yogurt bowl place. I hope that lady found a job somewhere that's where she's equally as appreciated by everyone.
I've lost like 10 pounds since the start of the year, so I'm down to where I like getting to where I want to be. So I'm gonna really, really try. I mean, the only thing I'm gonna splurge on is alcohol, obviously, because I'm gotta have some good beers while I'm up there. Yeah. So that's going to be a given.
that you're going to get the first night you're here already. So you may blow that beer weight like on night one. But
I'm not worried about beer weight.
The way I figure it, here's the thing, Tim. You know what we do? Get up 20 minutes earlier than we need to. We'll run the boardwalk, run it back. There you go. It's gone.
Done.
Ready for more beer.
That's right. Yeah, I'm not worried about the beer calories. Everything else I'll try to eat in moderation. But
yeah. Well, I you know what? This is like my last. I've been kind of pretty good on and off. I've been a little cheats here, a little there on the weekends, but so to me it's a weekend. So, and I'm gonna, it's like, how often do we get this? If anything of this pandemic has taught you, never know when your last fun time is gonna be.
Exactly.
For a while. So I'm not gonna like sit there and like worry about a calorie. When I'm like hanging out with some good friends and at the New Jersey Horror.
It's not like I'm not gonna eat salad the whole time. It's just gonna be kind of a.
Tim will just be munching on a head of lettuce.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be that obsessive over it. It's just going to be a balancing act of just trying to be reasonable. I'm not getting the $100 cheesecake buffet, I guess.
No, we're not doing that. But I mean, well, plus there's a lot of expenses here. We don't need to eat. We don't need to eat fancy. Although we do have to. You have to at least make make an appearance at the noodle bar in case someone needs to know what to order.
I love the noodle. Yeah, I love the noodle bar. Yeah, we'll definitely.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Actually, in all honesty, that was a good place. I wouldn't mind eating there again because I enjoyed it. And Whit Hereford might need.
Might need advice. Yeah.
I swear to God, I would be hysterical if, of all people, he's the one that showed up at that noodle bar looking to eat, like with us there. That was so funny.
That'd be classic. We'll see who we get stuck in the elevator with this time.
It's gonna be somebody. I know. I think we almost should put like some like polls out there, like fun polls that day. Like, who do you think? Like like little things, and maybe we'll find some prizes at the con to purchase, like little inexpensive prizes to kind of purchase to Oh, and I will say, there's people that, of course, I'm excited to see. Our friend Abby is going to be there. I want to definitely see, I think just Tony from the Ghost Girl Greetings are going to be there. So I definitely want to see them, as they were guests on our show and become really good friends. So I definitely want to see them. I want to check out, Frank's Kids, his booth, where he's got that great, that cartoon horror mashups.
Oh, yeah, I'm actually really excited about the vendors this year. Because I think from interviewing different vendors since we went last time, and just kind of, I don't know, I guess the older I get, the more emphasis I put on like unique, like handmade artistry and stuff versus like, just like the mass produced stuff. So I think it's going to be neat to there's a very good chance, depending on what I can fit back in my suitcase, I guess. I don't have a lot of room for a lot of trinkets, but.
Well, and Cone's got that board game for you too.
Yeah, and I don't even know how I'm going to get that home because I don't have any room in my carry-on right now. But so we'll figure something out. But I definitely looking forward.
We could always ship it to you or something if we had to.
Yeah, but
like the board game or something.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, we'll figure it out.
But yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to the vendor tables this year because they were showing shots of it on the YouTube videos I was watching. I was like, oh man, it looks so cool. I remember that.
Yeah, like I saw in one of the shots there was that like cool diorama dude. That,
I love that guy.
Jason ones, remember that?
Those were super cool.
Yeah, I kind of want to make one myself. I just don't think I have that talent that he had. He was really impressive.
I know. I should try to. Because I used to do stuff like that. I used to make model kits and dioramas. That would be something that I think would be a fun little project and light it up with LED. And it's so easy now with LEDs. To do the lighting and stuff. Oh man, that's a good idea. I'm gonna have to try that. Just get one of the NECA figures.
You know what I'd love to do? I should do it, but I should have probably bought extra figures to do this because I don't want to open the package. I should have brought like a Joe Bob, like the Joe Bob and Darcy, like an extra one that I could open and kind of make like a last drive-in diorama.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Which would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, do they sell little mini lounge chairs, like lawn chairs? I don't know.
You'd be surprised. The
I
dollhouse
know,
community.
right? Well,
yeah,
actually, yeah,
you'd be
there's
surprised.
those mini things. I see
Yeah,
all
they
the
have all
time,
kinds
so.
of stuff.
Yeah. But anyway, so we'll wrap it up. But we just want to give you a little preview this week. You'll probably have already enjoyed this memory, but this should be released as you're listening to this. Tim and I will probably be on our way, get on our way to the con, and so keep an eye on our social medias because we'll be posting pictures. I'm sure just our whole adventure there, and then when everyone arrives, and it'll just be a whole fun weekend, and we're gonna try and bring you there as much as possible through the magic of social media.
Yep, and then we'll be back next week with our post-con episode, and we got a amazing regular episode lined up. I know it got pushed a couple weeks, but you guys are gonna be blown away. I think it's gonna be worth it if you're a fan of a certain movie on Shudder that we're covering. So.
Yes, I think you will be very, very happy. And it was a technical difficulty that was just no way to avoid. But we will bring it to you once we're finished with the episode, so it'll be fun.
All right, guys, take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
See you later.